What is up? My name is Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back. This, of course, is the epicenter for all of your current and captivating coastal elite chaos. So please hit that subscribe button, like the video, ring the notification bell, leave a comment or two, share this with a friend. Let's go. So I recently posted an amazing video about Oakland. It goes much deeper than just the in and out story. So please go watch that. It's an absolute masterpiece. And these stories are popping out faster than I can keep up with them. Recently, they found a body near the Coliseum. And it was just a very quick story. There was no details. It was like, oh, body found. If you have any details, call us. And I'm sure there's going to be more on that. And we'll follow up because, as we know, the follow-up rarely occurs, right? Like, things get in the news cycle and they last for maybe 48 hours if you're lucky. So we'll see what happens with that. But there was another story that popped up as I was editing that video. And, of course, I had to make another video in a little bit more detail so we could all understand what's happening here, because outside of the fact that this happened in Oakland, it is incredibly, incredibly sinister. So from KTVU, Fox 2 News, of course, Oakland criminal justice advocate and ACLU lawyer caught in gun crossfire. And they put a little video here. It's only about a minute long, but it's not even worth watching because they don't touch on any of it, right? They don't touch on any of the details. They say, oh, we just need to fix Oakland. But if you actually read the story, which I think they are hoping you don't, it becomes incredibly sinister. So remember, ACLU lawyer. And they say, a self-described criminal justice advocate, ACLU attorney, and one-time Oakland mayoral candidate said she and her family were caught in gun crossfire where bullets penetrated the walls of her home, but luckily did not injure anybody or anyone. So the headline should have mentioned the house, right? It wasn't like she was walking down the street and it was a gang fight, on the mean streets of Oakland. These bullets went through her house. So, kudos to them for at least putting that in the first paragraph. But that, I don't know, in my humble opinion, is something that should make it into the headline, that bullets went through her home. It continues. This is kind of regular for my neighborhood to consistently hear sirens and hear a lot of commotion and chaos happening, Alyssa Victory said in an exclusive interview. It doesn't feel good for it to hit so close to home. I'm thankful my family is safe. So, right? I mean, this is her saying, well, nobody died, so it's okay, right? And you'll see that she is going to stand by her progressive ways, apparently, and that's the only reason this is a story. If this woman's house got lit up with bullets and she started parroting conservative, hard, tough on crime talking points, it would not be a story. But this is a story because this woman's house gets shot up and she says, no, I'm still a progressive, right? And that's the machine. That is the regime. That is the media saying, look, this woman, her family was almost killed. Stray bullets went through her home and she's still one of us, right? I mean, In-N-Out Burger is leaving. Businesses are shutting down left and right. The entire Bay Area, well, not the entire Bay Area. You can talk about the South Bay and the Silicon Valley tech sector. But Oakland, San Francisco, it's completely crumbling. Everybody sees that. So to counter that, they say, well, this woman's house got shot up and she's still one of ours. It goes on. Victory and her family, including her husband and father-in-law, were cleaning up in the kitchen about 10:30 p.m. Friday when she heard what sounded like 10 gunshots on her block of 21st Avenue in what is known as the San Antonio neighborhood. Her teenage godson was sleeping in a bedroom. A bullet whizzed into her dining room area. Another bullet went through her kitchen wall, exiting into a different room. It spread debris all over the dishes. She quickly made sure her relatives were okay, inspected her home, and went outside to see a large police presence on the scene within about a minute of the shooting. Oakland police said either one or more people fired a gun fired off a gun in the 2100 block of Commerce Way, and one person walked into a hospital to say they had been shot. No arrests have been made. Okay, so, right, we know 911 doesn't work. We know they dropped the ball on hundreds of applications. We know that there's no police chief, so you are on your own. And like I said, the only reason this even makes the news is because this woman goes out of her way to say, no, we're still progressive, and we'll get there. But there's one point where they literally say, oh, it doesn't matter if it's progressive or tough on crime, it's the same, which obviously it's not. Who are you fooling with this? In her day job, Victory is a staff attorney for the criminal justice program at the ACLU of Northern California, where she focuses on police reform and law enforcement accountability. So your house was shot up and you were worried about the law enforcement being held accountable? She ran for mayor but lost to Shang Tao, and I can't imagine it would be any better if she had won. Sideshows, sexual violence, and shootings are regular sights and sounds in Victory's neighborhood, one she can't afford to move away from even if she wanted to. Earlier that day, her best friend was caught in the crossfire of gunfire too, just in a different location in East Oakland. So somehow, on the same day that her house was riddled with bullets, her best friend was caught in crossfire too. Still, Victory has never had bullets pierce through her home while she was inside. It's unusual for it to hit this close to home. In fact, years ago, her neighborhood was nicknamed the Murder Dubs. You know, Oakland natives know all about that. And here's where it gets good. Several conservative voices on social media chimed in that it's Victory's progressive policies that have landed Oakland in a crime zone in the first place. It's the leftist progressive policies and ideology, like progressive leftist Alyssa herself, who created this horror story in Oakland, one man said on X. The disconnect is unreal. Michael Ray Peterson wrote on Facebook, wonder if this might, quote, red pill them and get them to be tough on crime advocates. And then this is the crux of the entire story. This is why it's news. There is no hard evidence that neither progressive nor tough on crime policies have any effect on crime rates. And as Victory sees it, witnessing this type of crime is part of the reason why she went into criminal justice in the first place. So there you have it. People are getting shot up. Their homes are getting shot up. Her best friend is getting caught in crossfire. But we don't know. And we don't know if it has anything to do with the policies. It's kind of like there's a clip from a couple videos ago. Go ahead and watch all of them. Thumbs up all of them. But in San Francisco, they say that the overdose decline coincided with an increase in law enforcement, but city officials said it was too soon to tell if there was a correlation. It's like they're lying right to your face. Oh, we don't know if this makes a difference. It's like, well, it does. You can go to several other, even big cities, even New York isn't this bad. Even the Bronx, right? Shout out Keith Lee. He left the Bay Area, said it's no place for tourists, and then went to the Bronx and had delicious tacos. It goes on. This is completely nuts. And this is why they put the video there, so you would watch the video and not actually read the article. But here's the flex. It continues. As for more police, Victory said there are always plenty of police in her neighborhood, so having more wouldn't have stopped the bullets from flying, in her opinion. So she says, the news, they don't quote her, but the news reporter here, whoever wrote this stupid article, says that there's no hard evidence that progressive or tough on crime policies would stop this. And she agrees with this, saying, well, yeah, there's plenty of police, but they don't stop anything. And here's the kicker. This is why it's news. But she hasn't lost her progressive worldview. And I can almost guarantee that if she had, then this would not be a story at all. In fact, that's probably happening all over the place. And that's why they're so desperate. So with that last ACLU lawyer, the machine, the regime, the media, whatever you want to call it, they are letting you know they still have power. They still have control to the point where somebody's house can get shot up and they are still going to go to bat for them. And just for good measure, this is a post from the ACLU. And these are the people, right? So this is why I always say this gender ideology is the big ass. Right? So this woman, we'll see, is going to man, they, them, z, zim, zer, whatever. I mean, it's all a complete mess. They want confusion, they want chaos, but that aside, when you get people that believe this nonsense, that's how it trickles down to the point where a bullet can go whizzing through your living room, your kitchen, and you will still go to bat for them because your brain has been completely turned to mush and it's likely leaking out of your ears at this point.
Biggest barriers that we encounter, particularly when it comes to news media, is that I often find myself telling reporters and helping them report out these stories.
Telling reporters how to report on me, right? Like, we wouldn't want anybody coming from the outside and telling the truth. We need to tell people that they should report the lie we're propagating.
To consistently ask themselves, what about the trans people? Which seems silly that you would need to do that in stories about trans people, but invariably a story about our healthcare, a story about our rights, a story about the politics of our existence, generated controversies over us, have a habit of drifting away from us and going to the assumptions that we're challenging.
They are so far off the plot. They're so far gone that you'd have to be completely delusional, or a kid, or both. There is no adult. There is no fully functioning adult that can go to bat for this and say it makes sense. This is only for people who have been completely manipulated, completely brainwashed, to where this person is saying, well, I'm going to tell reporters how to report on us. And it seems silly. It's like they're operating with this idea that there is only one frame of mind. It's ridiculous. The idea of another point of view is just a bridge way too far for them. And this carbon-based life form says, about these reporters are like, why is it not all about us? They're literally saying, how is this not about me? They talk about healthcare. They, them, zim, zer talks about healthcare. I mean, what are you talking about? Are you talking about reproductive justice like Julian Castro? Are you talking about bodily mutilation for you and little kids? And look, I am all for going to bat for the little kids. That makes complete and total sense. It is pure evil. But the truth is, it doesn't matter whether you're 4 or 40 or 140. It's not going to work. And I mean, this person, this carbon-based life form, is talking about rights. I mean, what rights are you talking about? The right for you to jam this down the throats of little kids, no pun intended. The politics of your existence. I mean, we all know you exist. We can all see it. We all hear it. You do nothing but complain. We know about this. But the politics of your existence and the controversies, the controversy from where these people are coming from is the idea that some people aren't buying the narrative. And really, the entire mainstream media landscape was going to bat for these people, and then they have the nerve to wonder why it's all collapsing and layoffs are happening left and right. And, I guess the theme today is delusional desperation. So here's a post from Planned Parenthood, who, of course, proudly endorsed Oakland Mayor Shang Town. We can all see how that's gone. But they say, your daily reminder that virginity is a social construct, not a medical term. And I don't know if it's Photoshop or if this is a real billboard, but it has the definition of virginity, which is obviously incorrect. A completely made up concept, a term that was created to control and shame people, mainly women. So really, do you think we're this stupid? Like, all of your made up concepts, all of your cisgender, pangender, non-binary, quote unquote doctors, doctorb.
I will perform any operation for $129.95. Come in for brain surgery and receive a free Chinese finger trap. Okay, Fred. You tried the best, now try the rest. Call 1-600-DOCTORB. The B is for bargain.
Shout out Dr. Nick from The Simpsons, but no self-respecting doctor is going to do any of these weirdo procedures that are quite clearly made up. It's not real, but you want to claim that virginity is not real, and they love this. They want people to have sex nonstop so they can abort the babies, but then, it's a woman's right to choose, but also men can get pregnant too. They just have created this completely false reality. And here is how, they create these false realities from tenant media. New York City Hall has removed Thomas Jefferson's statue after 187 years. And I was there when they were protesting the removal of Teddy Roosevelt's statue outside of the Natural History Museum in New York City. I actually was on Tucker Carlson. But that aside, this is how they create the false realities, is they remove statues, they rewrite history, they rename everything, and then claim that you're the one that wants to rewrite history because you don't want pornographic books in the school. And then they talk about they don't want to teach slavery. Literally nobody ever said that. D.L. Hughley, who I'm trying to, wean myself off of, but he's like, no wonder they don't want to teach black history in school. It's like, nobody ever said that. They don't want to teach your weirdo brand of American history and how everything is racist and everything is sexist, but also you don't know what a woman is. I mean, that's a different story. My point here is they can create these false narratives of virginity as a social construct, so you should have as much sex as possible so we can abort the baby, but also men have babies. It's a complete mess, and the only way they get to that is by destroying things like this.
And that way, it's only, I just noticed, only person. So, yeah, I'm sorry.
Shit, sorry. Okay, you get it. And what should happen here is that the politicians, the activists sector, the activist contingent, they should have to remove these statues. Now, maybe those guys are activists. They're wearing masks, so it's quite possible. Maybe it's dusty in there because they've destroyed, the entire room that the statue was in. But the politicians and the activist class, they should have to remove these statues, right? Don't go hire a bunch of burly men. Don't go hire a bunch of big, strong white men that you would call racist to do your dirty work. Why don't you do it yourself? And this is the reason. This is how they create the false reality. And with things like this, it all trickles down. Oh, men can get pregnant. A bullet flying through my living room is not that bad. Nobody died. I'm still a progressive. It all stems from stuff like this, rewriting history, and then pointing the finger at somebody who wants to remove a graphic book from a school.
I'm triggered.
Then from New York Magazine, and there's likely just AI prompted stuff. We see the layoffs, Taylor Lorraine, all that stuff. We see it, but they say Trump haters turned Trump voters. And then at the bottom, they say, why do so many Americans seem open to giving him a second chance? I wonder why that could be. We spent the last 6 or 7 years just throwing everything at this guy. The intelligence community has 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at him. It was all completely false and phony. $83 million tax returns. The list goes on. It is nonstop. And now you're wondering why people are willing to give him a second chance. How did they not buy every single thing we've thrown at him for the past 7 or so years? How did that happen? Why would they do this? I can't understand what's happening. There's no way. There's just no way. I have enough faith in humanity to believe that this is actually evil and not stupid. Nobody is this stupid. It is far more likely, in my humble opinion, of course, that you are evil and manipulative than being this stupid. You just don't get to a certain age being that dumb. And, of course, speaking of giving Trump a second chance, huge story. Snoop Dogg vows nothing but love and respect for Donald Trump. Now, obviously, we all remember when he was ranting on social media about, he was playing the YG song in the background. And for the record, I believe YG has also, at this point in time, done a complete 180, and Trump's not so bad. And shout out Austin, right? I actually used to work with him, the kid who was kicked off stage for not saying FDT at a YG concert.
I want you to state your name and yell out, fuck Donald Trump. No, you won't. Get his ass out of here. Get him out the stage. Fuck up out of here. He a Donald Trump supporter. Get his ass out of here.
But now, 3-4 years later, they all come 180 degrees around and say that's not that bad. The media was manipulating all, and I don't even know if they realized what was actually happening. I mean, it was pretty clear some years ago what was really going on. I don't know if they know, but the reason that this is important is not because, oh, he's giving Trump a second chance, oh, welcome home, Snoop. It's because, look, Snoop is probably oblivious. He's in his mansion all day smoking pot, selling grills, whatever. He doesn't really know what's going on, but he does know which way the wind is blowing. So when it was beneficial for him to say FDT and point a gun at a Trump doll or whatever he did, that was all well and good. That made sense. That was paying the bills. But now he can see what's actually happening, and as much as he may not be fully informed on everything that's going on because he's just high as a kite, and he's retired, he doesn't need to do anything, that doesn't matter, but he can see, right? He can see what's happening and say, oh, well, the hood is for Trump now, so I guess we're going with that. And he also knows that he can't fully go full-throated, pause, he can't fully say, yeah, like, put on a MAGA hat, because that's going to come back and bite him. But this is a good middle ground. It's like, oh yeah, I love and respect Trump, he's not that bad. Then you've got Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, of course. Total shocker that the poster children for these two narratives were given center stage during the nation's most commercialized event on an election year. And as we now know, we have figured out that Kanye West is pretty much the equal and opposite of Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift is out there, oh, vote Biden, oh, right side of history. Travis Kelce is out there pushing pharmaceuticals, but they call Kanye West the crazy person for, shedding a tear when discussing abortion, making an album about Jesus. Of course, he's the most rabid anti-Semite on the planet. That's not true if you really listen to what he's saying, and everybody knows I'm a longtime Kanye fan. In fact, I've been canceled for saying that Kanye West isn't that bad. That's a different story, but the point here is, look, I don't know. I don't want to be conspiratorial about it, but Travis Kelce obviously made a commercial about, I can get 2 shots at the same time? Oh, how convenient. Bro, what is he, 30 years old tops? He's in peak physical condition. He's a professional athlete, and he's worried about a Rona shot and a flu shot. Give me a break. And, of course, Taylor Swift here. So, look, I don't know. I can't speak to what's actually happening here, but something is weird as to why these two people are up front and center, and they have been for the last handful of years now. And look, I mean, they're not even hiding it anymore. They're saying right here in the headline from TMZ, Joe Biden desperate for T-Swift endorsement. Should be easy enough. So, I mean, you already had her endorsement. She had the she had the Biden 2020 cookies, right? So you had but that's how bad you are, right? Is that she literally endorsed you 4 years ago. Baked cookies. Her boyfriend is pushing the pharmaceutical that you wanted to force people to do. And now you are desperate for her endorsement because even she knows now that this regime is so bad you have to convince her. So you've dropped the ball. You fumbled the bag. You had it. You lost it. And the desperation continues. Then from NBC News, first of its kind campaign fundraiser in the works with Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Biden. So imagine being so desperate, you are now reaching out to Bill Clinton, who was before Barack Obama. I mean, it's just through the roof. That's how bad things have gotten. And I even watch YouTube and I see, Barack Obama out there stumping for Joe Biden. They're desperate to get Taylor Swift on board. They're talking about, if you don't vote for me, then women aren't going to be able to get rid of their babies. The desperation is real. And for the millionth time now, if this is on the level, I mean, you do not stand a chance. And they know that even they're so, I mean, Trump, you can say Trump or whatever, the sandcastles have been kicked down. The curtain has been opened. We can all see it now. And they know that even cheating might not get them across the finish line this time around. So they're trotting out Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. I mean, Bill Clinton, the husband of Hillary who lost to Trump. Nobody likes the Clintons. Epstein Island Clinton. That's how desperate you are. That's how bad Joe Biden has been. And the desperation continues from Mother Jones magazine. Pelosi wants the FBI to investigate pro-Palestine protesters. So are you just now realizing that Nancy Pelosi is not a good person? Is this what it takes? Is for Nancy to say, I want to investigate the pro-Palestinian, that's what it takes for you to realize Nancy Pelosi is not on the level. They say, as protesters continue to disrupt Democratic campaign events with calls for a ceasefire in Gaza, Rep. Nancy Pelosi now says the Biden admin should use the FBI to investigate the activists, financing which she baselessly suggested might be coming from the Russian government. And there you have it again. So Nancy Pelosi is saying that it may be the Russians that are protesting for Palestine and they don't like Biden. So we've gone full circle there. But the protesters also don't like Biden. And at first, I thought that the protesters may be how the establishment is going to get rid of Joe Biden so they can replace him with Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama or whatever it is. But I genuinely don't know what's going on. Maybe it's authentic, probably not, because when you look at videos of the protests in Oakland specifically, there's hundreds of comments of people saying, what's wrong with these people? Oakland is going all the way down the drain. Shout out Richie Rich. It's over. But you guys are protesting for Palestine all the way across the other side of the world. So it is a mess. There are many, many levels to this madness, but they're so desperate now that they want to investigate pro-Palestinian protesters because they might be agents of Russia, and that's why they don't like Joe Biden. And even if this is all real, if every single one of these protests is authentic, those protesters don't like Joe Biden, so they're not going to vote for him. They also say he hasn't gone far enough on climate emergency, so that's another reason not to vote for him. And then, quite obviously, on the other side of the spectrum, people don't like Joe Biden because he is destroying the border and I mean, the Biden crime family. The list goes on. That could be an entirely different episode. The point here is nobody likes Joe Biden except for a handful of weirdo politicians who have aged well past the retirement age, 80, 90 years old or whatever it is. You should have left 3 decades ago. All that said, they are clearly desperate to, I mean, and why shouldn't they be, right? They shouldn't just, I guess, roll over and take it. But my concern is that there is going to be an exponential level of cheating, but I don't think they can get away with it at this point in time. Yeah, you have these pockets in New York and San Francisco and Chicago and Portland or something of completely brainwashed morons, but does anybody think that the majority of Americans in the middle of the country are saying, yeah, we love Joe Biden, and they're going to go vote for him? Even 4 years ago, did we think that all of the people burning down cities, diligently dropped a mail-in ballot in the mailbox for Beau Biden? None of it makes sense.
This doesn't make any sense.
So there it is. I could obviously go on for hours, but in the interest of time, I won't, and just roll a funny clip.
I was on my way to the Harrisburg coat outlet to buy an irregular coat, but it required a stopover in New York City. All I had to do was walk a few blocks from the Port Authority bus terminal to my train at Penn Station. At somebody the wrong way, because the next thing I knew, I was running for my life. And that's when the chuds came at me.
Of course you'll have a bad impression of New York if you only focus on the pimps and the chuds.